Subscribe, love, like. We're sponsored by the Spunk Lube and rebroadcast by the Demon Seed Radio Network. We could not do any of this without you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us that bump. Sexy People Podcast. I'm Dan Frigolette. Welcome to the new season. I'm here with Leevonlux and Carly, our sexpert. Thanks everybody for being here. You all look lovely.
Thanks.
I feel ashamed. I feel like I shouldn't be on camera. If you guys are only listening to this episode in the world, you can also view us on YouTube. But let's do this thing. Leanne and Carly have a relationship, so I'm gonna let you mostly handle this, and I'll just be like dumb guy in the background holding his wiener. So thanks for being here.
But you're also good looking, so there's that.
Oh, you know how to say the right things to me.
I know you've had a week. I need to help you out a little bit. You've had a week.
Yeah.
Had a rough day.
Yeah.
So I know Carly through doing the Miss Inked pageant at Westchester Tattoo.
Yes.
She was one of the contestants, and thank God I don't make the decisions because she would be my winner every year.
Unfortunately, you're not the only one making the decisions. I just want to win.
I wouldn't even have a contest. I'd be like, the award goes to Carly. You just come on that stage like you are a force to be reckoned with. As soon as I met you, I was like, I'm going to be her friend, whether she likes it or not. I did not ask for consent on your friendship. I was like, we're friends now. She is a sexpert, sex coach. I have learned more things from Carly about my own vagina than I have from having a vagina. So welcome, Carly. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for, listening to my tips. It's nice that people are finally paying attention to me.
Oh my God. I don't know how they don't. Your blog is called Dildo or Dildon't. Mm-hmm. And I have read reviews that you've had on sex toys. I have a wish list of sex toys that I'd like to get because you reviewed them so well.
Let me chime in. What makes a perfect sex toy for a woman?
And that's the thing about my blog is that there is no perfect sex toy for anybody. You have to explore your own body and put in the work and figure out what you actually like. And that sure. I can tell you all the things that I love, but it doesn't mean you're gonna actually love it. So I like to write reviews and the objective positives about a toy. Like, this was really good. It was this soft. It was this strong vibration wise, to let people make the decisions for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, that's so important.
So then what's Lux, what are you looking for?
Well, actually, sex toy wise, I think I'm all right. But
what's the one you're into?
So I prefer clitoral stimulation for myself. Yeah, that's my go-to. I mean, I'm on OnlyFans. I do penetration for OnlyFans with toys, and I pick out toys that I know that they would like. But for myself, my me time, I just got into bed and it's me time. It's like a little clit vibe. It's actually, I can get away with something pretty cheap, which I know so many people can't. So I consider myself very fortunate. I can just use, it's not the bullet. The bullet is not powerful enough, but it's like a step up from the bullet. I think it's like a rocket or something like that. That does the trick every night.
Wow.
That's simple. But I do want to get the suction ones. The good ones look expensive, but I want one.
I'll send you one. I got you. I have extras in my house. You don't know that all those giveaways that I run is me trying to get stuff out of my house.
So you're the Oprah of sex toys.
Yeah.
So what's a good male starting point if I'm convinced I don't want anything near my butt? What's a good male starting point for a sex toy?
Thank you for making that distinction, because I always ask, do you want something to stroke with, or do you want something to stimulate your prostate?
Yeah, no, I think I want to bang something. I think that's what I want. Yeah.
Do you need it to look like a person?
No, I don't care about that.
Great. Then I would say to look at Tenga products. They make anything from a disposable egg that you can jerk off with to sleeves that you can wash out and reuse to really suction-y toys. They're really great, and they have a range for people that are just looking to spend a couple bucks or looking to invest.
I've heard about the sleeves because it
also
cleans
the investment idea.
Yeah, sometimes you got to invest in your pleasure because especially with like the soft toys to like jerk off with, they break down. Like you're not going to get a million uses out of like
I
a
see.
thin egg, especially like no one's going to be nice to it. Like you don't got
Yeah.
to be nice to it. It's
I
the
would be
whole point
nice
is
to
you
it.
could be sure, but it's still only going to last you a few
Yeah,
uses.
there's really. So yeah, there are zero times when when I'm just gonna take my aggression out on the thing I'm banging. I'm not at that point in my life anymore. That's
You're so
interesting.
grown and mature.
Yeah, but I also think that I also think that I would be like excited that I destroyed it. I think that would play to my male ego stuff.
It's kind of hot to watch like a dick destroy it though because it like starts like poking through.
Yeah.
It's visually
You're like
appealing.
my dick did that. Yeah, I like
Yeah, there's something to be said about it. Yeah.
that.
So now my question is, how do you introduce sex toys for men with a male partner? Because I've never thought to be like, I want to watch you destroy this. Like you just said that, and I'm like, that sounds hot. Why have I
Yeah.
never suggested that?
You know, it's one of the things that I like to say is that like get something inexpensive like a Tanga egg and like show it to your partner and then leave him alone with it, like put it in his drawer and I guarantee you he'll get curious and he'll fuck it. Cuz
it
like
just
who
so-
wouldn't,
it
right?
just sounds like a dog. It sounds like we're like men are just canines.
No, it's human nature. Same thing like if you're like, "Oh, hey baby, I got you this vibrator. I'm just going to leave it here for you to explore." Like who's not going to try it? Like you're going to
Yeah.
get curious, you're going to want to try it. So like low pressure, like, hey, this was a couple bucks, like let's just do that. Or like incorporating it into things that you're already doing. So like let me give you a hand job with this toy and like let
Yeah.
me touch you with
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like you're just adding different sensations to the things that you're already doing. Like sex toys are tools, they're not replacements. They're like additions.
Sure.
Right.
What
It's
is
so funny.
your
It should be like a basic thing. Like bring in sex toys. Why have I
Yeah,
never?
exactly. Like you can't reach that itch, you get a back scratcher, right? Like
Right.
what's different?
So true.
what a good yeah, I like that. I like
No,
that.
I need to buy male sex toys.
Yeah, just
I
have
just got a new one. I get stuff from my job's warehouse all the time because I'm like, oh, I like added it to the website, but I haven't seen it. So like I got this new like Sonos sleeve, and it's like perfect to like give someone head with because like the tip is open, so it's like just this like little half sleeve, and it's like so soft and squishy.
Oh, okay.
that's interesting.
It
Well
must
then
be like a little cheat.
Yeah,
let me go back.
exactly. It makes you feel like you're deep throating, and then you're not. It's
Oh
magic.
my goodness.
Let me go back to Lux's comment. She was like, she should get male. But Lux, you don't have a partner, so like, if you have male stuff
Right, but when I
in
do,
the house, no, it freaks people out. Whenever because I've gotten all kinds of free crap from being at the porn convention like that, and then I just bust out this thing, and girls are like, "How many people have you used this on?"
I
I
see
mean,
what
you gotta leave the wrapping on it. That's the thing with the Tanga egg. It's like individually wrapped. It's like, nope,
Yeah.
this is yours, and you can break the seal for them.
Will that make my partner feel, or that will make her partner feel like you're too experienced? It's like if you have too many toothbrushes at your house, girls even get like freaked out. They're like, hold on a second.
I mean, that's not what I can help people with. I can't help mitigate that. I can help them pick the toy and like
No, I
hopefully.
think you can help with communication.
Yeah, I can help with communication for sure, but like
Yeah.
there's limits.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
what's your partner status? I don't know. How do you deal with all that? What are you single? What's your thing?
I mean, I am partnered. I live with my primary partner, but we are poly, so
Okay.
like we date other people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
let's
us-
break down polyamory for the
Give us
people.
the crash course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been poly since I've been 17. So, like, I have dated couples, and now I'm like a primary in a couple. So that means that, like, I live with this person, I do taxes with this person, but we also will date other people, sometimes together, mostly apart because people are difficult.
Because people are difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the type of women that are into me are not generally into him. I'm like pretty queer, and like the women that are like going to be interested in me are not going to be interested in my very manly partner.
Yeah. Interesting.
Got you. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I
That
like
makes
that
a lot of sense. I'm attracted to women who are a little bit masculine. And so I've had relationships with men in the past who they weren't exactly attracted to the same kind of girl that I was attracted to.
Yeah.
But sometimes I could bring a femme partner, you know, that would be kind of more for them, but I could also enjoy it. But it's tricky matching three people.
Yeah.
It's very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's hard enough trying
Dan
to.
really would love to be a unicorn in a lesbian
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah, she keeps telling me it's too good to be like I can't like of course you want to do that. But like, yeah, well, because I'm just trying to figure me out, and I'm trying to figure out the space where I can be less needy all across the board. So if I can come into a situation where I don't have any responsibilities, maybe I can figure that out better.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I used like dating couples. Like I used it to explore my sexuality and
Yeah.
like date lots of people and feel a little safer about it because, you know, a man's not going to murder you if there's a woman there, most likely. So like it felt a little safer.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like you just
Yeah.
have another witness. That's what that is.
Yeah, or like two people to drag the body, but you know, like I always like to say I'm kind of heavy, so it'd be harder to kill me.
I like the things that we tell ourselves to create a false sense of security.
You know.
Well, if we got to kill one of us, let's kill the lighter one.
Yeah.
Wait, so who does your husband? No, not your husband. Who does your primary partner date?
Anyone he wants to.
But who are those people? Is there no? You know, it doesn't matter. You guys don't come back and powwow.
I mean, we do powwow sometimes. I mean, right now the well's a little dry because of the pandemic. Like the people
Sure.
that wanted to meet up were like people that, you know, are not being safe, sane, consensual, like
Right.
risk
Right.
aware.
How does
Yeah.
polyamory work during COVID?
Sure.
I mean, everyone that I know that's poly is really struggling right now because like we're used to so much connection and like people I know that have partners that don't live in their city or like or in their pod, they haven't been able to see them all year. So it's tough. It's a lot of digital trying to connect, but like people are lonely and they're struggling and they're tired of connecting on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. From online dating, I feel that so much.
Yeah, there was this, because the other side of this podcast originated with talking to people specifically in the adult field, like professionally filming all that stuff. It's the getting tested in porn has now become you have to get COVID tested and you have to get STD tested, which I think is really, really smart. And I've been making jokes to civilians for a while that like people are going on dates with like, let's get COVID tested. And that's become normal. So I think that should also be the first date you go get COVID and STD tested. I think that should go hand in hand. But I don't think straight people
Yeah.
are ever going to be into that. And just regular civilian people are ever
I
going to be
mean,
into that.
queer people are just so much readier, like more available to like mitigate risks because we've
Yeah.
dealt through the AIDS epidemic. Like we
Right.
know what it's like, and like we use sex toys then to like socially distance and have intimacy without swapping body fluids. So like it's still a lot of the same. People are using sex toys and like the ones with the apps that they can connect with over long distances and stuff. But like
Yeah.
queer people definitely understand it better than, you know, straight folks will ever.
Yeah, and somehow adult entertainers are criticized the harshest. But
Oh, always.
above and beyond to be the safest.
But they're
Yeah,
the
you know
cleanest,
who
yeah.
had a stash of gloves in their house? Me,
Yeah.
this pervert. I had so many gloves. I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm gonna be good for the year.
That's great.
I like that idea that that adult film people and sex positive people like just had like a lot of paper towel already and a lot of
Yeah.
gloves and a lot of masks. just 'cause
We
they-
know how to sanitize things. I saw a bunch of perverts making those guides to how to properly take off your gloves because people didn't know how to do it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how do people not know this? And I'm like, oh yeah, straight people don't really use gloves for sex. Like,
So wait, so you're talking flipping it inside out so you don't get
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
poo
that's not
everywhere?
right move.
hmm
Interesting. Wait, I had a question. And this is just a fun one. There's no real answer, so don't get too worried. It's which platform do you think is having the most long distance sex during the pandemic? Where are people fucking?
Probably FaceTime. That's
Yeah?
the simplest. I feel like, especially because like you know those people's numbers, but their real names are in your phone. Like,
Yeah.
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 Do you think there's a
So
space?
I guess you don't have Apple.
Do you think there's a space to have a purely sex, like video chat app?
yeah, it exists.
Which one's this?
Yeah, so Pure app, Actually, they're adding non-binary as a gender option in April, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be partnering with them a little bit on my blog to do some advertising. But Pure App is kind of like if Tinder and Snapchat had a baby. So
Okay.
like you can like very casually be like, I want to jerk off with somebody, and then people will be like, hey, I want to jerk off with you, and then you can do it in the app, and I'm pretty sure like you can't screenshot it.
Nice.
So
Oh,
yeah.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. It reminded, like, I went on there a little bit and then I got, like, overwhelmed because I didn't actually want to talk to anybody.
Right.
And I was like, oh, people are trying to talk to me. I was like, oh, never mind. I don't actually want this. But, like, it was cool because it reminded me of Craigslist because, like, you could put some, like, very specific niche thing in that you wanted. And, like, people would be like, yeah, I'm into that. Let's do that really
Yeah.
great thing.
Oh, I did that.
Is FetLife
Mhm.
doing that though? Has that taken the place of Craigslist, or is it not?
I guess.
From the sound of it, that's a no.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
just wish that they would revamp the platform. It's not like
yeah, like make it mobile friendly and like make it easier for us to like get rid of people that are actual creeps and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm so tired of FetLife, like main picture being someone's penis, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we don't realize that that's aggressive. Like, I understand what the website is about and who you're coming on as, but like that's a lot of
Yeah.
hello, here is my entire dick.
Yeah.
But actually, that mentality allowed me to like find some catfishes recently, because there was somebody who's been reaching out to me for years that was claiming to be a woman but is giving me dude vibes. It's like sending, like going straight to pussy pics. It's like, no, I've never met a woman that sends pussy pics first. This is crazy.
I had someone on my OnlyFans tip me for me to look at her pussy.
Okay.
Yeah, it happens.
And by the way, if you become overwhelmed with that business, I'm happy to take your overrun.
I don't think people want to show you their pussy for the same reason they want to show it to me.
I will be honest. I will be very open and honest.
What website, app, whatever, dating something, where can we, maybe FetLife, what would be the best place to get Dan into a unicorn lesbian relationship situation?
I mean, if I had the answer for that, I'd be rich, wouldn't I? Like, I would just, yeah, I like would have so much money. I guess, I mean, FetLife is going to be the best choice, but like, I wouldn't say it's a good choice. You know what I mean? Like, it's the only option there is right now until someone makes a better one. Like, I wish some Tinder pervert would spend quarantine making a better app for us.
True. I do too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it is always weird when you see, because on Tinder you'll see the ones that are the couples, and it's like, this doesn't feel like the right place for this. I do know people, specifically the producer Eric has had a lot of success on OkCupid. Because you can put in all the non-monogamy. Yeah, you can put all the non-monogamy stuff in there, and it doesn't freaking be out. They've actually let you put in that sort of category.
Mm-hmm. I like that they ask a million questions, even though it might be annoying to some. It really gets you to know that person before you even waste your time in conversations. And I
like OkCupid. I mean, it's where I met my partner. I think it's one of the better apps if people are looking to like actually date and talk someone and not just like bump junk.
Bump junk. So wait, is there no version of you and your partner dating one person together, or fucking one?
Yeah, person? I mean, I would love that. That would be cool. But like, we just haven't found that person.
Never
are not really actively looking for that person. Like, if it happens, it happens. Like, we exist in a lot of spaces where like that could totally happen. So
how do you know when you're full up? I don't really know. I don't know the correct terminology. Like, how do you know when you're like polysaturated? Is that the term?
Yeah, I mean, when you run out of your scheduling can't allow it. If you can't give the people that you're currently dating enough attention, then like your cup runneth over. Like, you're done.
Yeah. How do you respond to this? It starts to so the way I've always dated, and it's not working, but it's been like. Like I kind of figure out where I fit, and then I kind of like I sit in that space and I contribute where I can. But poly, when people explain it to me, it starts to feel more like you have to be so almost selfish to be like, okay, these are the things I can provide for you, and these are the things I'm looking for you to provide, and that's it. I'm just going to take what I want, and I'm going to give what I want. How do you put it in a way and make me understand it in a way that doesn't sound as like, I don't know what the word is,
I mean, I don't mind that it sounds selfish.
Yeah,
Knowing
why?
what you want and getting your needs met is something that everybody wants. And if my needs are, I want you to date me and then I want to go on a date with this other person, then like, let's see if that works for us. And if it doesn't, then we'll reevaluate if our relationship can move ahead. Because, like, I know I'm never going to be monogamous. And, like, that's just my thing. And, like, there are lots of people that I've dated that have tried to make me monogamous. And
Sure.
it just, yeah, and, like, I'm like, that's a deal breaker for me. Like, I like you and you can hang out, but you're not going to change me or tell me I can't get more tattoos or something. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's just part of who I am at this point.
Yeah, people have to meet you where you're at.
Yeah. And like it sucks when you don't like have the same thing that you're looking for. It happens all the time. Like it just might happen more frequently if you're polyamorous.
I don't know. I think it happens as frequently when you're just dating one person and you're just lying. Everybody's lying and trying to change. And also, there's way less communication. You've been polyamorous since you're 17. You have no idea what it is to have somebody like be someone for 3 months and then all of a sudden they're like going to show you.
Oh, I
who they
do.
are. Okay, sorry. So you know what
Yeah,
that's
no,
like.
my ex cheated on me while we were poly.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is the kind of shit that like ruins me. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm telling you, like, yeah, we could have threesomes. Like, if you want to sleep with someone else, like, let's just discuss it. Let's process it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and 18-year-old Carly slept with him and his baby mother, and he still cheated on me.
Yeah.
it's like, why? All you have to do is be honest. That's the only difference. Just
Exactly.
be honest. You
Well,
get
let's
to
talk.
be
Let's talk about that one. What's the piece that he felt like he couldn't share with you? That he felt like he had to do something outside of what your agreement was.
I mean, he was an addict. He had addiction problems.
Yeah. Were you
Yeah.
aware of them?
I mean, at the time, I didn't know how bad they were.
Right.
Yeah, looking back, I can see very clearly the signs and things like that. But, you know, at the time, I didn't really realize I made a lot of excuses. But, like, the lying was just indicative of a lot of other trauma
Right.
that he needed to work through.
Right.
Yeah, so he was just gonna cheat no matter what the situation was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it just was, it gave him thrills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there is something nice about, like, there is something fun about lying, and there is something fun about cheating. I don't know why, and it's terrible, but it really is part of
It's so stressful to me. I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand it. I am, like, honest to the point of, like, people not liking it, and
Sure.
just people lying just stresses me out. And I like trying to keep up with the lies. It just feels very exhausting. But,
Yeah.
like,
I'm a shitty liar.
yeah.
I would rather just be honest because I'm gonna fuck up in my lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Myself anyway. I actually have a physical reaction to cheating, which is bizarre. I have tried to cheat, like out of spite. I wanted
Yeah.
to cheat
Well, that
It-
one's never good.
3 times in my life. I was like, fuck that person. Like, I'm mentally and emotionally done with them, so it doesn't feel like cheating. And I have tried,
Right.
and I have had a horrible physical reaction. I mean, ran to the bathroom and puked because I cannot cheat. It does something to me at my core that feels so wrong, and I don't know where that comes from, but I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I'm so like emotionally involved in the people that I'm with that even the next, if the breakup's abrupt, like the next person that I'm gonna hook up with, I have like a ton of stage fright because I'm just like I'm still stuck in this like new person space where I get like confused and weirded out.
You also don't let your relationships breathe, your ex relationships breathe enough before
Always.
you to the next. Yes,
Don't air my shit.
we did it last time anyway.
Specifically recently, that's absolutely true. But also in the world of like many opportunities, yeah, I mean, what you're always, somebody's always throwing, I mean, this is 3 people that people are throwing shit at us, right? So it's like, we can always just go, I don't know, fine, I'll go explore this other thing. So that's my response to that. But okay, so
You're
that,
a yes person.
but there is a rush. There's a little bit of a rush of getting caught. And then there's a risk. I think that's why people cheat. I think that's why people some people like cheating. But there's also a part of when I was a cheater of like, like the person that I'm with would never understand what I want and how I want it, so I have to go add something. So like it's almost the poly mentality, but without any of the honesty, right? Because you're just like, I'm adding something, but it's like I'm adding something to my needs without taking anything away from the other person. It is weird to me how like fragile people are about being cheated on. That's weird to me.
Yeah.
Why is that weird to you?
Because it's like,
I mean, people take it very personal.
It's not the worst thing that can happen to you. And I know for a fact now, it's not about that person. It's about the cheater, not the person who's getting cheated on. It's not about you at all.
Yeah, but it's hard to depersonalize that because it happened to you. So like people are always going to be hurt.
Right. And it becomes a value thing on yourself, and we're all just insecure at the end of the day. So that part I somewhat get, but.
Yeah, it does take a while to realize that it is about that person and not about you. It takes time to get that in your head.
So, Carly, where do you feel that your sexpertism starts and ends? Because I know you have the dildo thing as the main deal, but what else do you feel oddly capable of helping people with?
I mean, I'm a product expert. I do not hide that like if you need help picking a toy, like that is where most of my knowledge lies.
Okay, interesting.
I can help a little bit with like communication. I can help with like body confidence. I've done a lot of that, but like I'm a product expert. I'm not like a relationship therapist or anything like that. I like exist in this space as like a beacon of permission for like the person that I am, and that's more of what I do, is like I exist the way that I want to exist to hopefully inspire other people to be comfortable to do half of the shit that I would do.
Okay. Right. Do you think that's people's main like hold up is like bringing the power tool into the bedroom and like asking their partner if this is cool?
Yeah, and I think that people think that sex toys are like, you buy this toy for this specific problem or issue that you're trying to attack, and like, when it doesn't fix it immediately, you give up. Like, that's what everyone wants, is they want the solution to their problem, and they want it to be like a quick fix that like, this toy is going to do everything for me, and like, none of them work like that. Toys that like are hands-free or this and that, like they can have all these features and you still have to do the work. Like you have to be an active participant in what's happening. And like that's the thing that people don't know, and like that's the thing that I love explaining to people and like helping them figure out like how to work with their own body and like map their pleasure.
So how does a man not feel threatened by a sex toy or feel like he's not capable of pleasing his woman if she wants to start bringing toys into the situation?
There's absolutely no reason to be insecure about it because it's not another person. It is an inanimate object. There is no moral value to these toys. They are things that do a thing that humans can't do, whether that's like sucking for 45 minutes straight or like thrusting in and out at the push of a button. Like these are just things that humans can't do, and you have to look at it as like tools for you to reach your goal. Like, how can I incorporate this into what I'm doing with my partner? They're not trying to replace you unless you're trying to do that, which like could also be a fun kinky thing. Like you can cuckold someone with a toy if you really wanted to, like that. And that's the fun part of it, is like they can be whatever you want. It could be something that's going to help you give your girlfriend G-spot stimulation while you're going down on her. It's like just things to make your job easier.
Right. While we're talking about the communication aspect of this, how would you go about telling someone that they're doing something in bed that you don't really like?
Yeah.
I've had such an issue, especially, specifically with male partners, not being able to say like, oh, I don't like that because I'm afraid to emasculate them or throw them off their game. It's like such a sensitive.
How many times can you take his hand out of the spot before he doesn't understand? It's like,
yeah.
How many times can your body react and he's just like not getting it?
I mean, the number one thing for like people in general is to pay attention to folks' body language. Like if you're
Sure.
not comfortable enough to communicate, if someone is like pulling away, ease up. If someone is pushing towards you, you're doing a good job. Like it's very simple. Like paying attention to people's body language is the easiest way to like figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you can communicate things in a positive way because like we're naked, we're vulnerable. No one, even the most confident person, wants to hear like you're doing a bad job with like a dick in your mouth, right? Like it's not going to go well for anybody. So instead of being like that's horrible, do this, you got to frame it in a positive way. And like, oh, it would be so amazing if you put some more lube on there, or like if you went a little bit to the right, you would push me over the edge. Like being descriptive and blunt but positive is like the easiest way that humans can accept like criticism.
So then, do you think it's in the moment, or do you think it like I try to powwow afterwards and like
I mean both. If you don't feel, because some people like don't feel comfortable in the moment, and like that's totally valid. And like saying after, like, hey, like firmer pressure or like whatever, like opening up the communication and being like, how could I have made that better for you?
Yeah. Like I don't need all that suction. Suction is my enemy.
Yeah, exactly. But like other people, that might be the game changer for them.
Yeah.
So like it's about trying different things and figuring out what works for your partner, because like there's not one trick that's going to work for every single person's body.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing you started with, and I think that is a key point. Because like I have no idea, and like I have no idea how other dudes' dicks work. I know how my dick works, and it's like right. So it's like we have to like accept that's correct. I don't know. That's the other thing. I have to accept that like the thing that it takes to like make somebody come is right. It's not it's right. That's how the keypad works.
For them is correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's their cheat code.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. There's like disabled people that like don't have access to their genitals, that have like eroticized other parts of their body. Like your brain is an amazing thing. Like it's possible to think yourself to orgasm, or like clench your pelvic floor to orgasm. Like people think that orgasm is just like, oh, P and V, like that's the only way that it can happen. And like your body is full of orgasmic potential, and you just have to find it.
Yeah, I've only recently learned about I didn't know that ASMR was originally made for disabled people. I was just like, oh, I don't know why I like this, but I do. And ironically, I didn't think of it as being a sexual thing. It was something that just really relaxed me. So I got big into ASMR, then found out it was actually used as a sexual thing, and that it was for disabled people. And I'm like, this is fascinating. This makes so much sense. I love ASMR. Love.
Yeah.
Are you guys into ASMR? Dan, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, so the closest
like,
thing that I have, well, I know what it is. I hate, well, we talked about this some other time, actually offcast somewhere. I just hate the sound. I hate the sound of people kissing, so that's like, but the first time that ever like ASMR was like, I remember I used to come home and I didn't have a lot of access to pornography, so I would jerk off to music videos. And the Doing It music video, and then even the Doing It song, was it for me. Just the sound of sex. I don't even know if that's necessarily ASMR. But the sound.
But that's the thing with ASMR. It's like a whole range of things. Yeah. It's not just like those wet sounds or things. Because like that's the thing about finding ASMR that like makes your brain tingle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
the same thing.
It was just a woman moaning. Yeah, it was in it, and it was and my all my teenage angst was just. I'm just flashing back that, and then that song, and on that I bought the CD single. That's how much that was important to me. Carly, let me ask you: Is there a sex toy that existed that like surprised the hell out of you that it was even a thing, and or is there one that you think should exist that just for some reason doesn't?
I mean, the sex toy that I'm very excited about that like I didn't know that anybody wanted was the Baldo. I don't know if you've
What's a Baldo?
If you've heard about the Baldo. So it's basically like, imagine a ball stretcher that has a dildo attached to it. So basically you put your balls in it, and then your balls have like a dildo tip, and then you can put your balls into someone's hole.
So now I can DP somebody with myself.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
DP them, or you can have a ballgasm apparently.
that makes
And
sense.
like, yeah, and like I just really love creative things that like no one's thought of, that is just like one person like, this would be hot for me, I'm gonna make it, and then like everyone is excited about it. And
No, but
like,
they've been telling dudes that are oversexed for years that he's like a dog with two dicks. So that makes perfect sense to me. It's like,
yeah.
how do I have two dicks? Here we go. The baldo.
Oh
The
my
baldo.
god.
Now I get it. It's a ball dildo.
Yeah.
What's a
Yeah.
thing you would make?
This in action.
And what's the thing I would make, honestly? I don't know. I don't have anything specifically that like I am like, oh my god, I really need this thing.
Let
Like
me
all my needs are met.
let me ask it a different way. Have you ever been in a situation, I don't know how to do this without being very graphic. Have you ever been in a situation where you're doing a thing and you're in it and you're like, if I just had something to shove down my throat or whatever right now, then that would be great. But can we get there with one thing?
No. That's the thing, is like you're never gonna have that one thing that's gonna work for everyone's body. So like let's say I was like, oh, I really want like a triple stimulator, like one that's gonna do something for my clit, my front hole, and my back hole all at the same time.
Yeah.
It would have to be made for my specific anatomy.
Right.
So like there's really never going to be a toy. Like there's toys, like I can pull one out right now that's like super adjustable, that
Yeah.
like these toys exist. Like there are specs that like I always wish everything's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Whatever they make a dildo, I'm like, can you make it bigger?
Right.
And then they usually do, and I have gigantic dildos all over my room. And you know, that's always the thing, is like there's always going to be someone that's like, can you make it smaller? And there's always going to be someone that's saying, can you make it bigger?
Yeah. It's a good point.
I would love to have a Sibian. They're very expensive.
I bought one.
That's the jackhammer guy?
No,
That's the sit on it guy?
is the ride on one.
Yeah.
It just looks like it feels great.
Yeah.
It does. I went viral on TikTok with it. They were like, what's the loudest thing you own? So I showed that. I was like, well, if no one's sitting on it, TikTok can't take it down. And
Right.
you know, yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I can't even do a full joke with a swear word in a TikTok without getting pulled off. You're over here just
Oh no, trust me, I've got plenty of things taken down.
Sure.
Like, let's not even talk about it. You're gonna summon the trolls to me.
Speaking of the trolls, I know that you recently did a live on Instagram, and I didn't catch the live, but I caught a post you made afterwards where you and some other people were discussing how you had these trolls on there harassing you about your body. So I wanted to talk body image, body positivity with you. What happened on this live?
Apparently, well, Spectrum Boutique I work for them. I do their merchandising. I do like a weekly Q&A, and like we partnered with Laura DiCarlo to do a giveaway of their products. So like I go on there, I give away toys, and like I answer people's questions, and it's usually very like, I mean, for sex toy questions, they're usually pretty PG. It's like, how do I clean this? What should I start with? Like very normal questions. It's never been anything too extreme. And we went on, and like there was over 1,000 people in the first minute, because apparently we had gotten pushed to the top of the live page.
Wow.
And yeah, I didn't know I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Because
right, it sounds like a dream, but
yeah, so, and Zoe, the owner of Spectrum, was like in the live like banning people, but like there was so many comments about my tits, and like just saying like BBW and like fat cow, and like it just ranged from like sexualizing me to saying I'm disgusting and like all these other things. And like I couldn't even get to comments of people trying to win the toys because there was so much spam. And like normally my lives are at least an hour, and I did it for like 40 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I gotta go, bye. I like gave the toys away and just like bounced. It was like, it was like the most intense thing, because it was just like at a certain point I just like left the question box up so I couldn't see the comments. It was just, I didn't know what to say. I like normally I'm interacting with people, and there was no comments to interact with. it
It
was a
was just
lot.
straight up abuse, basically.
Yeah,
Did you
exactly.
did you, other than the fact that you felt like you couldn't do your job, did you allow the bullshit to overwhelm you?
I mean, I felt overwhelmed, but everyone else was saying that I did a good job and like I
Yeah.
kept it going because unfortunately, like I've been heckled before. I used to do blowjob classes in Manhattan. Like people heckle you at free workshops all the time, and I've
Hmm.
done like
Interesting.
huge events at like Sex Expo. Like people love to heckle you when you're talking about all kinds of stuff. So
Wait,
like I've been heckled, and I've been on Cam 4 during their like happy hour thing, and like I know about lots of people talking about my body, but like in the context and like where it was just felt really like violating. And
yeah.
like I got off the live and I cried because it was just so much. And like that kind of stuff doesn't usually upset me because I have a really thick skin. Like I know what I look like and like I know the attention that I get, but it was just so much. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
yeah.
straight up abusive, and I was surprised when I saw in your comments and stuff, and you saying like, "Yeah, I actually cried. Like that was terrible." I was surprised because I know you as like this strong, like no bullshit, like just tough chick, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, they must have really gotten to her." You're the first person I met who you described yourself as fat, and I was like taken back by that because I was raised to, to hear that as a bad word, right? Where it's
Yeah.
instinctual for me to go, no, you're not fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like, no, like this is who I am. Like this is you with this such pride that it made me think like, oh yeah, why am I saying what is
Yeah.
okay to call this person or what is not
Yeah,
okay?
exactly. By normalizing the word fat, it becomes just a descriptor. Like you take
Yeah.
away the vitriol from it. Like I am fat, just like my hair is curly and my eyes are brown. Like these are just things that I am. Like I'm never not gonna be fat. So
So let me ask.
Right, right.
So then, Lux, what did you think was the correct word then before that?
I've always felt like you're supposed to tippy toe around this subject.
Okay.
So
There's no words at all.
when my friends would say to me like, "Oh, do I look fat in this?" I would say, "No, you look beautiful, you look amazing, you look this." I would try to take them away from
Interesting.
what I thought was negative. It's not negative.
But this is, if I can say, and I could be completely off base, but I think this is more of like a female protection thing because just from a comedy perspective, brilliant comedian, I would bring her on the road places, and her stuff was working in New York. She's calling herself fat, but then when we would go to some place in the middle of the country, they would be like, "Oh no, you're not," like in her joke, and she's like, "No, the premise is I'm fat. I'm being fat. I'm fat." But when dudes do it, nobody's like stopping dudes from saying that they're fat. So do we think that this is more of a female word that we're not comfortable with?
well, you know what it is? It's that like fat women tend to be desexualized when a
Okay.
fat man could still like be attractive. Like
Yeah.
there's that
Okay.
common trope of like the fat ugly man with a hot wife, like
Right.
Family Guy, the Flintstones,
Oh yeah.
like all of these sitcoms do
Yeah.
that. And like
So true.
men can be fat and a slob and
Mhm.
abrasive and still be like getting hot women and no one questions it. But
Yeah.
like you don't see that trope with women. Like women have to fight to be sexualized if they're fat, which is like funny to say, but
Yeah.
like we're allowed to be sexual beings too. And like when they see a fat person being confident, they're like, but hey, remember you're fat. Like,
Right.
and it's like, no, 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 I'm fat and I'm confident, and like you don't get to pick and choose like how I identify.
Yeah. Well, so then
Right, right,
the question that I
right, right.
asked.
I think I learned this also.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I learned this, I think, from a post you had a long time ago. Was something about people saying, "Well, it's okay if you're bigger or fat, if as long as you're healthy," or something like that. And that was a mentality I also used to have. Like, well, if you're healthy, it doesn't. And then I realized it's not my business to give a shit if someone is happy with the way they look, whether or not they're healthy, my health is none of your business. Their health is none of their business. You know,
And
like
people don't question that with like thinner disabled people. Like they don't question if they deserve respect because they're in a wheelchair if they're thin. But if
Right.
you're fat and in a wheelchair, then like, oh, what did you do to deserve that? Like
Yeah.
fatness is like a punishment to people. And when you're like, no, I'm just fat, like people don't know what to do with it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And if you're like, I'm fat and I'm confident and happy and sexual,
Yeah.
they're like, well, how
Oh,
dare
forget
you?
it. Yeah, oh, forget it. Yeah.
Right.
It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, because I don't have anything intelligent to say, but it all makes sense to me.
Because it's just interesting to take it in, because you're like, oh, I've been trained to think this way, but it's really this way. And
But it's because it's also like we can all become fat, and like that's a lot of people's like worst nightmares. Like if I get fat, then nobody wants to fuck me, and you know. And then obviously we know people that they've been the same size their whole life, and that's just who they are, and that's who they identify. So it's just weird that there is both a permanence and a temporary nature of fat, and we almost only accentuate the temporary, like, oh, but you can solve it, like, but some people don't have that
Right.
interest.
No,
Like,
there's
they want
nothing to, right. If
Right.
Yeah,
a person
exactly.
is happy, why are we telling them how they can fix something if they're happy? That, you know, it just makes no sense. But
Nothing's broken, right?
we're trained to do this. It's so silly.
So then what is it? So then what is an offensive word that somebody can say to you, Carly, when they're trying to avoid saying fat? What's an offensive word that they could say?
I mean, it really just all depends on the context of how people are talking about me in general.
But they're
'Cause,
trying
like,
to
anything
be-
someone could say could be
but they're
offensive
trying to
me.
tiptoe. They're trying to be respectful. Like the big one, like I found this out when I was trying to figure out shows for deaf people. I thought hearing impaired was good, and they told me hearing impaired is bad. Deaf is deaf. Deaf is good. So is there a version of somebody trying to be nice and they make a mistake by trying to say something that sounds worse than it is?
I mean, there's so many of them. Pretty much all of them, like obese is like a medical term that really
Yeah.
has no bearing on anything. Overweight doesn't mean anything either because
People
like
say that
over
thinking they're
what
being
weight?
nice.
Yeah,
Oh.
or yeah, like people say all kinds of weird shit to fat people, honestly. Like, and like they use these like cutesy terms that are really weird to me, like fluffy or like thick, and it's just like,
Right.
I don't know. None of it feels good to me, but like
Sure.
I'm not gonna shit on someone who likes those words, but like
Yeah.
none of them feel like a good fit for me.
Okay.
I'd be like, don't call me fucking fluffy. Like,
Yeah, it just
grow up.
feels like
Grow up.
you're infantile,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're
Interesting.
making me like a baby, like
Yeah, no.
So how far are we along with normalizing the word fat as not offensive?
not far at all.
Carly's the only person I know that's owning this, and like she does it so well. I don't know anyone else that.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of like fat activists doing the work, but
Okay.
like so many of them get like bullied off of platforms from like fat phobia and like
Okay.
straight size people like being mean to them about the words they choose to use about their body. It just like, I don't know, like I'm very happy with my like smallish following. I don't want to expand too far to where people like just find me and want to throw all their shit at me.
So
Yeah.
So do you hate?
Yeah,
do you
I don't
hate
blame you, but it's a shame because I wish like, you know, I want you to be famous and I
Yeah.
want everyone to know who you are because you do so much work for people. You tell people how to experience pleasure. I mean, everyone should have a little bit of you in their life,
Yeah.
but I can understand not wanting to be attacked all the time when you just
Yeah, like even with TikTok, like that's the one where I go viral the most, and like anytime it like remotely gets bigger than like my audience, I get stuff taken down. I get fat phobic comments. Like people tell me to get like lap band surgery and like all kinds of shit. And it's like, it's just so rude. It's just like shit that I would never think to say to people. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
look at some man and be like, you should get hair plugs or like anything
Right.
like that. Like it's just rude. Like I don't understand why people think that like me being in the digital space is an invitation for them to comment on me at all.
I think TikTok is particularly short-sighted for people. The comments, everybody, the comments are things that are like people putting them out there like, oh, this is no consequence. I miss the days when like you had to stand there when you said something because you could get punched next. We're so far
Yeah.
from people punching each other that it's actually worse. Like
I
you
agree.
couldn't even
Normalize
fathom.
punching people now.
Yeah, People can't even fathom being punched. You could be punched, and then nobody's dead. You just got punched, and everybody's fine. Yeah, it hurts a little bit, but you're fine. And then you don't say that stupid thing again.
For this. No, absolutely. Okay, so we all have these crazy, interesting jobs. Yeah. So Dan's a comedian. You know, Carly's a sexpert. I'm in adult content. And there are things that get said on our jobs, our careers, that would be wildly inappropriate anywhere else. So I wanted to have this game called Things That Get Said.
Sure.
And so what are the kinds of things that could be said day to day in your normal career, in your normal life? Either of you.
That are terrible?
That would just be so weird if you said it, you know, casually chatting with someone in a Starbucks. It would be weird if someone said
the big one for me is always, and again, like most of my interaction in the 1 year period of time has been on dating sites, and so this is sort of like the venue for it. But it's just a lot of like, tell me a joke, and it's like it's just no situation where that's okay. It's like,
no, that's never gonna come out perfect.
Comedy is the only job where they're just asking you to just do it for free on the street, like.
No, I mean, I was a musician for a long time. People always love to do that, like, play me a song, and it's like, I'm not like one of those monkeys, like.
Yeah. Eric chimed in. He says, "I hope you murder tonight," which is what people say about comedy. It's like, "I hope you murder tonight," or like "ate a dick." That's a comedy one too. And I've seen somebody say that on stage to a room of people that have never seen comedy. They're like, "So I did this other show and I ate a dick," and the crowd's like, "What is he? What is he saying? What does that mean?" It means he did bad on stage. I ate a dick. What? Why? What's yours, Lux?
I ate a dick. Well, so in my job, I get a lot of like show more pink, which means like spread it more.
I heard this from you, actually. Yeah.
PSFB, which is pussy shot from behind.
They just say that to you?
Yeah, we'll be like,
you'll be shooting.
Yeah, let's do some PSFB.
Wow.
So I flip it around. I bend it over.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to think of what else.
When I was trying to be photographed, I'm very bad at being photographed, but this guy who was trying to be good at me was like, smile with your eyes. I hate it. It's like, not with your mouth. Smile with your eyes.
Is a thing.
Look through the lens. Look through the other side of the lens. Yeah.
And I know what that means, but it's hard to say that to someone who doesn't like
do
it for it's like, what? I'm looking at the camera, like, what do you want? I had a great female photographer when I was working with Suicide Girls who she made me die laughing one day because she was getting like the gynecological shot and she goes, "Stick out your undercarriage." And I was like, wow, that's the most unsexy thing I've ever heard in my life regarding my undercarriage.
Yeah, well then for Carly, have people ever been like, "What's gonna make me gush"? Has anybody ever asked you like, when they're pitching what to?
Yeah. Sometimes people like they mean well and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have fun tonight," and it's like, yeah, I know. Like,
we get it.
Yeah, I get it. I know what we're doing here. Like, you don't have to make it weird. I don't know. I think the weirdest thing that I texted that, like, obviously I couldn't text if I had a normal boss was like, I texted Zoe and was like, "I kind of want to fuck this hammer." Because we got this new toy that looks like a hammer, like samples are on the way, and I'm like, kind of want to fuck this hammer.
That is a perfect thing to get said because I don't think anyone else could say that to their boss.
Yeah.
I wonder, so then actually on that notion, are there like, has Marvel gotten into the sex toy mix? Like, can somebody fuck a Thor hammer? I feel like this is, they can.
Yeah, there's an indie maker in Australia that they make geeky sex toys, and they have a Thor's hammer dildo. I have an Aquaman one somewhere.
You can put Aquaman in your pussy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic.
I never actually used it because I don't like the density of it. It's really firm. Yeah. But they got me when they were like 1 of 300. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need it as a collector's item.
That's great.
Oh my God, that's great. I want to start collecting dildos.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do the thing.
But geeky sex toys make some really fun ones if like that's like if that's a thing you're looking for.
I'm sure my OnlyFans would love that.
I love that. I love that somebody can just put an Iron Man up their butt. I love that. That makes me feel so good. All right, let's do the thing. We've been on for a minute. What? How do we find you? How do we follow you? How do we make you money, Carly?
Plug yourself.
Yeah, all of my social media is makeupandsin. Pretty much any link that I post is an affiliate link. If I have given you good advice about a sex toy, please use my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and I get a small portion, so that's the easiest way to support me. If you want to see me use some toys, you can also check out my alter ego at Chloe Venom. My blog is Dildo or Dildon't, and see me at Spectrum Boutique answering questions about sex toys and helping people pick stuff too.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Lux.
Thank you so much.
Lux, since you're brand new to us, give us your plugs.
Yes, at Leevonlux, Leevonlux. That is on Instagram. And my OnlyFans is also at Leevonlux. That's it. Come watch me do things with myself.
Come watch her show some pink. This is the Sexy People Podcast, formerly known as the Porn Stars of People Podcast. We appreciate any audience that we've retained in our change. We're trying to be more woke about the things that we do and the things that we say. You can check us out on YouTube, on Google Play, on iTunes, all the places where podcasts are. And we have that content on YouTube. And we're going to start trying to figure out whether or not we should be on TikTok and some of those other things. So watch all that stuff. We appreciate you being here. We drop a new episode every Sunday. Thank you. And thank you to my guest.
Thank you.